ADHD is extremely common. It's in LearningRx, it's actually the most common diagnosis we work with. We see a lot of adults and students who struggle with ADHD. Research shows that about 80% of attention issues are caused by one or more weak cognitive skills. So cognitive skills are the skills we rely on every day to learn or to be successful in our vocation. So those skills would include things like, obviously, attention, memory, logic and reasoning, auditory and visual processing, and processing speed. So when one or more of these skills are struggling, when they're not as strong as they need to be, it impacts the way a child is able to learn and pay attention. It's the opposite when these skills are strong. So for example, we have research published in the Journal of Mental Health and Clinical Psychology related specifically to our work with students with ADHD. And it's very fascinating research. What it shows is when you look at a cognitive profile of an individual diagnosed with ADHD, and you look at the skills I just mentioned, like attention and memory and processing, which skill do you think is the lowest skill? You would think attention, right? If someone has ADHD, that's an attention deficit. That's actually not the case. The most commonly low skill is actually processing speed. So how does processing speed, for example, affect attention? Processing speed is how fast your brain functions. So you think about what it means for a child is it makes every task harder than it seems it should be. Their brain has to work so much harder to keep up or to complete the task. And when that happens, when they're trying to listen to a lecture or read a textbook, they have to exert so much mental energy that they cannot sustain that level of energy or focus and then zone out or get distracted. Right? So think of it as an adult. If you're tired, let's say, you're trying to listen to a lecture or a sermon or something, you know what that feels like. You stay with it and then like, tired, zone out, come back, zone out, daydream. If your child has low processing speed, that means it's like that for them a lot. The root cause of most attention issues actually is not attention. It's weakness in areas like processing speed or really any cognitive weaknesses, because that means that the actual task is harder than it should be. So for example, a child who struggles with logic, well, if they're listening to their teacher explain a math concept and they don't understand it, they're not going to stay with that forever. At some point, they're going to get distracted, start doodling, zone out, right? So what we find is when someone has an attention issue, the actual issue usually is not attention. It's weaknesses in other areas manifesting as an attention issue.